A quick new idea daily from the world's greatest TEDx talks. I'm your host, Atossa Leoni, and this is TEDx Shorts. Phillip Picardi found his voice in the world of publishing by advocating for groups whose needs and experiences were overlooked. From his early struggles of acceptance to becoming the founding editor for Them, Condé Nast's first platform devoted to the queer community, Phillip shares the journey that led him to fight for media inclusiveness in misrepresented communities.
I am living proof that a person can be born gay. I used to carry Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera CDs in my backpack to the second grade because taking the CDs out and looking at their faces make me felt better during the day. So by the time teenage years, 13, 14 rolled around, I was getting the urges that, naturally happen. And I didn't think it was going to be any surprise to anyone who had known me that, yes, I was gay. So one night, feeling particularly emboldened after watching an episode of Queer as Folk, at 2 a.m, I burst into my parents' bedroom. I stood at the front of their bed and I said, "Mom, Dad, I'm gay." I think one of the hardest parts about being an adolescent is realizing that your parents are inevitably going to let you down. And that doesn't mean my parents didn't and don't love me. It doesn't mean that I don't love my parents. I do very much. But they did make a lot of missteps in my coming out. In the weeks afterwards, I was asked to stay in the closet. They pushed me right back into the closet. For the first time in my life, I felt what it was like to be completely and totally alone. So one day I ended up at a bookstore, Borders, which I don't even know if you guys are old enough to remember. And I went through the self-help aisle. Anyone who's ever been through a self-help aisle of a bookstore knows that it's garbage. So I found my way all the way to the magazine rack. And there I found Out magazine, which was great, gay magazine. So I picked that up, I hid it under my notebooks. And then I found Details, which I also thought was a gay magazine, but it actually wasn't. I don't know who they thought they were kidding. So I took that one too. And then, right before I'm leaving to go to the cashier, I spot Vogue. And I thought, you know what? Jack on Will and Grace is really into fashion. I think homos are supposed to be into fashion, so let me grab one of those too. So I start reading Vogue, and of all of the things that I picked up at the bookstore that day, Vogue was the only thing I was interested in. And it had nothing to do with being gay. It was a whole world of fashion and fabulousness that helped me to escape the reality that I was so terrified of confronting. So I became a loyal Vogue reader during my teenage years. And it wasn't until 1 month in particular, but I found this very text-heavy piece in the front of the book, and it was called The Letter from the Editor. You guys are all familiar with that? I didn't know who the editor-in-chief of Vogue was. I was only 14. But that letter from the editor said something that my eyes immediately glued to. It said, "Marriage equality is a human right, and the fashion community stands with marriage equality, and we are proud to." For the first time since my coming out, I felt worthy and seen, all in the page of Vogue. It was then that I decided to devote myself to fashion. So as soon as I could, when I was 18 years old, I moved to New York. I got accepted to NYU, and I landed, yes. And I landed an internship at Teen Vogue, which was even more exciting because Lauren Conrad has absolutely nothing on me. And so I started climbing up the ladder. And one day, I am 23 years old, and the editor-in-chief of Teen Vogue asked me to lead the website. And so all of these very important people at Condé Nast, which is the publishing house that owns Vogue and Vanity Fair, The New Yorker, they asked me, "Hey, Phil, how are you going to grow Teen Vogue very fast in a very short amount of time?" And I said, "The answer is really simple. It's all about politics and sexual health and reproductive justice and more feminist and progressive content that our readers can see themselves in." So me and my team devoted ourselves to this mission. So we covered the election for the first time in Teen Vogue's history. During the Dakota Access Pipeline protest, we invited 6 Native American girls to come to set with us in New York, and they flipped over a Thanksgiving dinner table and taught us and our readers about the genocidal history of the holiday. We said Black Lives Matter for the first time as a media brand because we did not believe that was about journalistic bias. We believed that to be a human fact. We also invited Muslim women to come and lead a video series with us after Trump's one of many Islamophobic remarks, where they delivered him a very powerful message. And finally, we invited plus-size models to be photographed for the magazine to show that there is beauty beyond a size 0. The whole genesis of what we did at Teen Vogue was basically that with my team and the team that I work with every day, we wanted people to feel seen by us. So I guess it shouldn't have been any surprise one day when I received an invitation to a luncheon with one Miss Anna Wintour, the editor-in-chief of Vogue. And Anna asked me a question that I've never once been able to answer in my entire career. She asked me, "What do you want to do with your future?" And before I knew it, all of these words started pouring out of my throat. I was telling her about the depression and suicide rates among LGBTQ teenagers. I was telling her about the importance of intersectionality in the queer community and how we need to uplift trans and non-binary voices right now more than ever. And I was saying that young people are being brought up right now to not believe that gender or sexual orientation needs to exist on such binary terms or binary ideals, right? And that they need a space to go to that is encompassing of their ideas and their values in a way that is for queer people and by queer people, and that Condé Nast, of all publishers, should be the one to do it. I had the opportunity to sit across from a woman and to work with a woman who doesn't even know that she was the one who saw me when I was 14 years old. And 12 years later, she made another dream of mine come true. They always say, don't meet your heroes, but I'm really glad I met mine. The worst thing an adult can do to a young person is tell them to accommodate their dreams or ideas to a reality. Youth is beautiful because it is full of potential and it is full of change. And right now, in a world where our rights are being trampled on, fact cannot be separated from fiction. We have a very strong need for big hearts and even bigger minds. We need big thinkers now more than ever. And I'm telling you that success is not about Instagram followers or an amount of likes or accolades or awards or red carpets. Success is about trying to identify a path and then blazing a trail forward. Whatever it is that they currently mock you for, whatever it is that they make fun of you for, whatever turns their heads with a sneer when you walk by, whatever you feel like you're shouting into an abyss and nobody is hearing or seeing you for, whatever fire burns in your stomach because you know that there's a need for change, that is exactly what you should be doing with the rest of your life.
The TEDx talk you just listened to was recorded at a TEDx event in London, England. All TEDx events are independently organized by volunteers who believe in TED's mission of ideas worth spreading. Special thanks to the organizing team at TEDxTeen. Want to listen to the full talk? Find Phillip's talk and more at ted.com/TEDxShorts. I'm Atossa Leoni. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.